Hi everybody, it's Kristin and I have another foundation review for you today. I'm doing this at the same time as usual with It's Kristin, and I will have her and her channel linked below. We like to do these at the same time because her skin is different than mine, and so we feel like our viewers that have the opposite skin type as us can, get another perspective when we do this. So as I said, I will link her below and you can go check out how this foundation works on an oily skin, younger skin, and more oily skin. So I have dry skin for those of you that are new to my channel. And so and I have a little bit more mature skin as well than Kristin. So I was interested to see how this worked. And this is the Covergirl Ready Set Gorgeous. I've heard great reviews on this. I cannot think of a negative review that I have heard on it, so this is oil-free foundation, and I am in the shade 110, which I feel like is a good match for me, and that's Creamy Natural. This sells for $9, give or take, depending on where you purchase it. So I think $8.99 is the price that when I looked on like CoverGirl's website, but I think I've seen it anywhere from $6.99 up to maybe just a little bit more at $9.99, but rough idea. So as usual, I will go through kind of my 5 little categories that I have for foundation, and we'll talk about it and score it along the way. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is coverage, and as I tried this, I tried it with 2 different methods generally. I did not try it with my fingers. That's just not my preferred method, so I did not test it with that. I tested with a beauty blender and also with my 110 buffing foundation brush from IT Cosmetics. And I have footage here that I will be inserting of me applying it with a beauty blender, and then this morning I did not have the record button on, and so you don't actually see me applying it with the 110, but you will see my face before I put anything else on because I realized it quickly enough. So with the beauty blender, you can see that it shears out nicely, and this claims to be a medium coverage foundation, and I think it can be that. I actually think that it can go from medium to full coverage. So with a beauty blender, I felt like I got a little bit more kind of sheer to medium, and you can, as you saw, I did a couple of different coats. I did 2 layers. Layers is a better word than coats. I did 2 layers, and you can see that it built up nicely. And then with the 110 brush, I just really have to do 1 coat, and then or 1 layer, and then I will put just a tad bit more on my cheeks generally. But my preferred coverage method, for the coverage that I prefer, which is a medium to full, definitely preferred the brush to the beauty blender on this one. It worked out just as well. The one thing that I noticed was in longevity, and I guess we'll talk about that in a minute. So for coverage, I'm going to go ahead and give this the full point. I had no issues with the coverage. It definitely does what it claims to do. And again, I really felt like you can shear it out a little bit, or you can build it up to a little bit more coverage. And again, I'm very happy with the coverage. I gave it a 1. So let's talk about longevity, since I have feelings on that depending on how you apply it actually. So I feel like when I used the beauty blender, the longevity was not as good with the beauty blender as it was with the 110 brush. And I also tried it with a couple of different primers. I tried it with this primer, the Laura Mercier Radiance primer, and I tried it with the Embryolisse I always say this wrong, Le Creme Concentré, Le Creme, whatever, this stuff. And this will generally work for me. It's not meant to be a primer. It generally will work for me as a primer and, as extra added hydration. But I felt like if I didn't use a real primer, then the longevity wasn't as good. But having said that, I still got definitely 10 hours of wear before I saw any sort of breakdown when I used the brush versus the beauty blender. So, and again, I think some of that is just in the beauty blender is meant to kind of give you a sheerer coverage. Right. I give it definitely a 1. Packaging, really quickly, we'll talk about that. I gave it a full point for that because it's very easy. It's not a pump, but it's a squeeze tube, which is almost as good as a pump to me. Plastic, you don't have to worry about it. So it's nothing spectacular, but I can't dock at any points. It didn't do anything like that I didn't appreciate, if you know what I mean. Like the pump didn't squirt out in crazy directions, or you know what I'm saying? Okay, so I gave it the full point. Color range, I'm only going with a half a point on this. There are 12 shades, but I really feel like there's not, I feel like they're maybe missing 1 more on the light end, and I think a bunch on the dark end. So while there are 12 shades, I feel like they are all kind of in the middle, and they definitely, you know, they have a couple for darker skin, but not very many in my opinion. So I only gave it a half a point for that. And I think the last thing I have is finish. So I'm really torn on what point value I want to give this for finish, because on the one hand, it looks great starting out. Throughout the day, I can definitely see it, and my skin really is in very good condition currently. For this time of the year, normally my skin is a lot more flaky and, you know, giving me issues. So it's in pretty good condition. But, you know, for the first maybe 4 hours, it looks fine and beautiful, and you can see the finish here. But then after about 4 hours, I will start to see dry patch here on my nose as well as on my chin. And it's just such a bummer, because I really feel like it looks so good starting out. My thought is, in the summer, I will probably love this foundation. So I'm looking forward to using it again in the summer. But so right now, all that I'm giving it a half a point, because it looks good for half the day. That's my theory behind my point. So overall, I'm giving this 4 points out of 5, which is really good. Like I said, the price point is great. Most people have access to Covergirl, and so I'm jumping on the bandwagon with the positive reviews that I have seen on this. My only negative, truly, is that that throughout the day it really will start, if you have drier skin, and if you're really dry, I don't think that this is a foundation for you. I think my skin has changed a little bit, so I'm kind of more normal to dry, more on the dry side. But again, I think in the summer I will really, really like this foundation. So I hope that this was helpful. Like I said, be sure to check out Kristin's if you are more oily skin and wondering what she thought about it. I have a feeling, and I don't know, we never talked beforehand, I have a feeling she probably really likes this foundation, because I think for oily skin, it probably does wonderful things. All right, I will tell you very quickly what I have on my face today. For blush, I have MAC's Margin with just a little bit of Melba, or is it Melba with a little bit of Margin? Whichever one is the Frost, I just have a little bit of that on. I'll list it below for you. And on my eyes today, for my main lid color, I have the L'Oreal Infallible in Amber Rush. And I have a little bit of MAC Soft Brown in the crease and some Blanc Type under my brow bone. And then for my outer V corner and beneath my lower lash line, I did take a little bit of the Amber Rush beneath my lower lash line, but the darker shade that you're seeing is the Makeup Geek Foiled Shadow in Showtime, which is this kind of burgundy brown delightfulness. And for my lips today, I have my lips completely filled in with the Milani lip liner in Brandy. And then over the top of that, I have MAC's Creme in Your Coffee. And I'm not sure if you can tell, but I did take a little bit of the Amber Rush right in the center of my lips and just kind of, you know, zhuzh things up a bit. So, all right, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you're having a great day, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.